people tell you to be ambitious, to work harder, to dream bigger, but they don't ever warn you about the dark side of ambition. They don't warn you that this can become a genuine obsession which takes over your life and prevents you from being happy and appreciative of your current blessings. Ever since I was younger, I've always wanted more. I don't mean private jets, I don't mean yachts, I don't mean fancy designer clothing or designer watches or cars. I just want the ability to not worry about money. I want to be able to take care of the people that I care about without having to stress about the bill of a restaurant. And what I've realized is there's this fine line which you cross where you are taken from your initial goal to the future, and that fine line basically takes you away from the initial path which you set out for yourself, which was something like freedom, like being able to take care of your family, like not having to stress about money. And it takes you to this part and this place where it's all about a goal, it's all about the next target, and it's always about shifting the goalposts. Like in my own life, it might have been getting a certain job, it might have been getting a certain degree, it might have been getting a certain car, and there's always this checkpoint. And then once you get to this point, your mind develops this standard, which you then have to go to the next point and the next point, and it's never ending. There's always this chase, and there's always grab. That shouldn't be the way it is. That shouldn't be the case. And that's why a lot of people who are rich, they'll go through these phases of extreme materialism, but then they'll cycle back and eventually they'll have this minimalistic vibe about them. Their houses will be minimalist, their cars will be basic cars, their clothes will be simple, something like a poor person might wear. And that is the cycle of life, because you understand that the cycle never ends. There's always this continuation of success and achievement, and you'll realize that it's so soul depleting and it's so frustrating spiritually when there's no end to it. There's always a next goal, there's always a bigger target, there's always something new. So that's why you break that chain, you break that cycle, and you just take a step back and just appreciate your blessings and appreciate the situation that you're in. And that's the dark side of ambition. That's the dark side of success, the trap that it is. As much as we all want it, as much as we all need it, as much as you might look on Instagram and see someone's life and look at the cars that they're driving and the clothes they wear or the restaurants that they go to eat, you need to understand that life isn't all about these things. Life is so much simpler than it needs to be. We just complicate it as human beings. We just want to get so many different things that we don't even need. We buy stuff that we don't need. We consume shit that we don't even require. It's just a dark trap. It's a dark cycle which it will take away your peace. It will take away your happiness. So aspire for more. Aspire for greatness. But there needs to be a balance. There needs to be some sort of appreciation for life, and just simplify things for yourself. It doesn't need to be so complicated. It doesn't need to be so much pressure that you put on yourself. And especially me as an artist, where I'm looking at so much talent in the world, where there's so many rappers, there's teenagers, little kids who can rap amazingly. They can write amazingly for their age. But you can't always compare yourself to other people. You can't always, try and look at someone else's journey and make comparisons with your own, because they're on their own journey and you're on your own. And you don't know what their life might be like. You don't know what they're feeling. You don't know the secrets behind it. A lot of fraud goes on. The eyes deceive. Social media deceives. So this idea of comparing and comparison and all these things, it shouldn't have any kind of effect on your own energy and your own life, because everyone's got their own path and you've got your own. And the even more twisted side of it is society rewards these things. They reward the people that go out and achieve and acquire excessive amounts of success and achievement, which is fair enough, but it shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be the case, because you don't understand what goes on behind closed doors. These people who are chasing success, who really want it with all their heart and all their soul, there's a lot of pressure that people put on themselves. There's a lot of stress that goes behind closed doors, a lot of sacrifices that have to be made. Like even myself, I don't spend time with my family like I should. I don't go and see friends like I should. You know, there's an element to me which says life's too short. You should appreciate the kind of relationships that you have. But then there's that other side to me that craves success and achievement, not simply because I want to prove to people, but because I want to prove to myself. And the reason why I want to prove to myself, it ties back to the points that I was making earlier about social media. I see so many retards, so many idiots nowadays with fame, with fortune, with all of these things. And I just want to do an experiment where I'm genuinely trying out something where I want to see if I can become successful as a guy who isn't a retard. And I'm not saying that I'm a genius. I know that sounds like an egotistical way of looking at it, an egomaniacal way of looking at it, an arrogant way of looking at it. But if you were me, you'd think the same. If you believe in yourself and you believe that you've got a talent, and if you don't want to let something that you can control, like work, labor, sweat, tears, you can control all these things, and if you don't want to let those things prevent you from getting to your goal or giving you the best chance possible of getting to your target, you're going to keep going that way. You're going to keep trying and striving and going for success. And that's the dark side of it. That's how I feel about it. That's how I think. And I don't mean it in an arrogant way. I don't mean it in a cocky way. I just want to achieve something because I know that I've got something that a lot of people in today's society who are genuinely retarded, genuinely stupid, genuinely don't have any kind of depth or substance about them, but they're acquiring these millions, they're acquiring these insane amounts of fortunes from being stupid, and they're the people that are navigating their bullshit to the younger generation. And that's how generations are getting stupid and stupid. And that's the dark side of ambition. Ultimately, I don't believe ambition as a whole or an idea is bad or evil. Because if you don't have any kind of ambition, you can't achieve anything. You can't expect to achieve anything. But there needs to be some sort of control. There needs to be some sort of assessment of your life and how much time you're dedicating towards chasing these goals and these dreams, and how much you're then appreciating your current situation and your blessings and the things that you have that money can't buy. Things like your family, your friends, your network. You know, these are things that should be taken into account when you're on that pursuit for success.